Hello, it's me, Ayahuasca from Marijuana Garden.
Moon landing conspiracies and facts Part 1. Neil Armstrong and physical fitness. A particularly bizarre myth that came into circulation was the exercise fanatic myth. Somewhere along the line a rumor emerged that in terms of physical strength, Neil Armstrong would have initially fallen far short of what was required for the role of astronaut had he not taken drastic action. According to the myth, as compensation, he put himself through long arduous hours at the gym, which ultimately saw him cleared for going into space. The actual facts, however, were quite different. Although overall he lived out a fairly healthy lifestyle, Armstrong rarely exercised. His well-known philosophy on the theme was that he believed a man had only a certain number of heartbeats allocated to him in his lifetime. As a result, he had no intention of doing anything that would use them up faster. Armstrong's photographs in the missing stars. Another well-known myth from the canon of Apollo 11 hoax theories is the absent stars myth. As with a growing number of more sophisticated hoax myths to become associated with Armstrong's lunar mission, it sought the more solid ground of better conceived scientific objections to the lunar environment captured on camera in 1969. In the case of this myth, skeptics claimed they had found visual proof of the LM landing site being a mere studio set in the unrealistic absence of stars pictured in the dark sky above the surface of the moon. However, this is a good example of a myth where real science actually undermines its main principle. Although a clear night on Earth is generally associated with a black sky and the visual presence of stars, we know that light from our nearest star, the Sun, overwhelms and drowns out all other comparatively dimmer light sources in space. The mythmakers in this story forgot that any photographs and videos showing the astronauts, their experiments, and the eagle on the surface of the moon could only be seen because they were filmed during the day with the aid of sunlight. Once again, as on Earth, the bright glare from the sun and its reflection off the lunar terrain hid the other stars in the blackness from view. Hubble Space Telescope and forbidden Apollo 11 landing site. With escalating public controversy surrounding the numerous Apollo 11 hoax myths, one unanimous request eventually came to the fore. Namely that NASA employ the telescopic power of the Hubble Space Telescope to provide bird's-eye view photographic evidence of the Eagle, the equipment, and lunar operations site, as was left on lunar soil in 1969. To date, however, the Hubble telescope has never been pointed at the moon for such a purpose, and in turn, NASA's refusal to do so has been branded by some conspiracy theorists as the Hubble cover-up. UFOs and Apollo 11, as if humanity's first landing trip to an extraterrestrial object in the solar system was not exciting enough, a myth latterly came to light that the Apollo 11 astronauts had witnessed some UFOs in space. It was rumored that at least one unidentified flying object, cylindrical in shape and matching the speed of the Columbia spacecraft, was observed by its crew during the translunar cruise, but disappeared before any photographs could be taken. To verify if it was possibly the upper section of the Saturn V launch rocket chasing them, the crew radioed Mission Control to try and establish the estimated distance between Columbia and their last nearest known man-made object in space. Houston's reply confirmed to the crew that having been detached from it so long ago along the way, it would not be possible for them to see any part of the launch rocket at that point in time. After flying parallel to the spacecraft for a few minutes, this bright, flashing object eventually fell behind and Columbia completed the rest of its journey to the moon void of escort. Although no one will ever be able to say with 100% certainty what the object briefly accompanying the flight of the spaceman was, the Apollo 11 crew came to the conclusion that the reflective, high-speed object was none other than a jettisoned panel of the lunar module's housing container, whose flight momentum had initially enabled it to keep pace with the spacecraft after separation. Their agreement on this point is based on their sure knowledge of the shape of an LM housing bay protection panel which the UFO was similar to.